Alright, it's time again to do another oil change. This time we have the FJ Cruiser by Toyota. This is a 2012. Let's go over the parts that we need first before we begin. Well, as a simple oil change, you want to use nothing but the best. You want to use what says full synthetic. It'll say things like green, advanced, super synthetic. All these terms are not as relevant as the fact that you want to be using the full synthetic oil. This vehicle takes 0W20 is what you want to use every single time if you want the full length of your time. Your oil filter, you want a higher quality one. This is the Tough Guard. You want to make sure that your filter comes with the 2 O-rings and this tool piece to drain the oil, what do we call it? The oil filter canister. We also want to have our ratchet to remove our engine cowling, engine protector. We'll go over that, as well as your oil wrench set you could buy at any auto parts store. Usual with other cars, your oil pan, your jack stands to hold your car up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come from underneath the car and we're going to take out 4 nuts. So those will be in these locations. There are 4 of them. So you can see the first one and the second one. That's what you're going to use the 8-set socket for. Just go in there and just loosen up, and then you'll have 2 in the back as well. So I go through these, they come off very easily. There's one of them, and there will be 2 more in the back, right there and right there. Once you've loosened all of the bolts, you want to be careful as you remove. One of the last bolts back here. The whole thing just kind of comes down on you. So let me show you what that looks like real quick. So I've gotten that ready here. What happens is this just comes down. This just comes down at you. And the way you're going to remove it is that it is hinged here and here. So when you pick it up, it shall just come with us. So let's see what happens here. There it is. All in one piece. And we now have access to our oil filter, which is in this location. We'll have to remove this first. This funny looking square is what fits on your wrench or your 3/8 adapter. It goes on the ratchet. So this is a 3/8, this 1/2 inch. So we go to, this is my ratchet, so we just put that right on. Normally, the reason I have this is because my socket is a 3/8 receiving end socket, but some of you may not even need this adapter. All you need to make sure is this end is 3/8. And we grab that, bring it onto our spots here, and fits like a glove, and remove that. It's loose. So we just take the whole thing off. This shouldn't leak any oil because you need that tool. Oh, boy was I wrong. We're gonna have, there's a little reservoir there, so we'll put an oil pan underneath before we continue. Got my oil pan underneath. I'll remove this bad boy. See what we got under there. Oh, of course, now there's nothing but 2 drops. Great. That was a chicken for nothing. This is where we grab our handy dandy tool. See, this tool was actually available to us in the filter. And what we do with this is we place it right on the spot, on the spout, and we screw that in, and we should start getting some oil coming from there. So we'll see what that looks like. I've already lightly screwed it in, and we're starting to get a lot more oil coming down there. While that's running, I'm going to go look for the oil drain bolt and empty that. Now the oil pan bolt is going to be, so you notice here, this is where the filter is right in the front. Oil pan bolt will be right in the back. Totally forgot about this. What we do is we unscrew these two little bolts, and we get the back one too. And down below, there's a drain bolt, so I'll be removing that and taking out the oil, the rest of the used oil in the engine. Actually, I was a little bit worried that the oil pan would fill up all the way, as 5.5 quarts is quite a bit of oil. But we're going to close up the drain plug now, put the compression washer back on. This, you should always get a new one every time you change the oil, as this gets compressed. And what you do is put it right back on there. Now it's not leaking any more oil. And I'll torque that to the designated torque. Well, after trying to work on taking out the oil filter, I'll definitely recommend buying a wrench that fits perfectly around this. You could find that at your local auto parts store, rather than an adjustable wrench that fits on multiple wrenches, as this is usually meant for your typical oil filters, not the ones with a custom hold. Once I loosen this up, just take it out. Here it comes. There's our filter. And this is where I will be making all of the switches, replacing with this and the gaskets. I'll show you that in a moment. Okay, I just took this one out, replaced it with the new one. The new O-ring is actually right there. I made sure I oiled it, and the small little O-ring goes right here on the bottom around. I'll just put that back in, put everything together, and we're good to go. We'll do everything in reverse. I'll put the oil pan lid back. I'll put the engine guard back, fill it up to 5.5 quarts, and check the oil level, and hopefully we should be all set.